Hey guys, it's a D. I hope that you guys can hear me today for two reasons. Number one, I don't know if you can hear, but I'm a little bit sick. Not not coronavirus, but definitely like getting over a sore throat. So I've got that like sexy jazz singer voice going. Um, but hopefully it won't crack and break and stuff. And the other thing is we are having some construction happening here. So they've been just like really like it really feels like somebody is aiming a giant drill into our house. Um, so hopefully we won't be disturbed by that too much in today's episode, which is going to be about using recruiters in your job search. So, a lot of people that I talk to, a lot of the people that even as they enter my program, and maybe a lot of people in this group as well, are using recruiters or have used recruiters in the past. Um, or maybe you're thinking about using recruiters. And today, what I wanted to kind of explore and pull apart and talk about is this a good idea? Is using recruiters, is it good for your stage in your career? Is it maybe not such a good idea? And so that's kind of what I wanted to take a look at today. All right. So first of all, why why do people even use recruiters in the first place? Like why do people use recruiters? Why do they work with recruiters? Why is this a thing? And in like trying to kind of unravel and explore why are people even using recruiters, I kind of came upon two main needs that I figure are being met. So usually, at least for the type of people that I get to speak to, um, the allure of working with recruiters is twofold. So number one, the first kind of need that it meets is the need for convenience. So instead of going out there and hustling for all the opportunities that you're not even aware of, trying to find job opportunities and trying to find roles that maybe aren't advertised and stuff like that. Instead of doing all that, you just kind of let a broker or a middleman find the opportunities for you, kind of already pre-filter them for what would be a good fit for you, and then bring you the results, which sounds pretty compelling in terms of convenience. And then the second thing is the certainty that it kind of delivers, the certainty that working with the recruiters can give you. So the job search itself is pretty much inherently a state of uncertainty, right? Like you put all these feelers out there, you submit all these applications, you don't get a response, you don't know if they even got it, if you've been rejected, or if it just got swallowed by their email system. Like you don't really know what's going on half the time in the job search. And it can be, and of course, the biggest uncertainty is like, when will it be over? When will I find my job already, like the place for me? And so having, looking at recruiters and saying kind of like, look, here's somebody who is a professional, who is literally a job search professional, and their job is to help match people with jobs. They must know what they're talking about. They must know, they know of opportunities that I don't. They have access to companies that use them. That, when companies have certain openings, they reach out to certain recruiters or recruiting firms, and they let them know, right? So it's like it does deliver a fair amount of certainty to say like, okay, I'll work with somebody like that, and I'll have a little bit more certainty in this very like uncertain process. Now, the case that I want to make is that even though those two things sound very compelling, the striving for convenience by using recruiters and striving for certainty by using recruiters, sadly, it's not really the case. So I wanted to kind of start peeling that apart and peeling back the layers and seeing like where kind of the logical fallacy is here. So first of all, when you outsource your job search, what you're really doing, like, you're outsourcing it in the search for convenience, but what really ends up happening is you're giving someone else the keys to your career, right? You're giving someone else control of something that is very personal, something that ultimately they don't have the capacity to care about it as much as you do. And it's not because they're bad people, okay? Like, it's very important for me that you understand this. Like, I don't think recruiters are bad. I don't think they're bad people. I don't think they're out to get you or they're not against you or anything like that. But there's no one in the world who is more committed to your career than you are, right? No one can be more committed to your career than you. And if they are, that's a problem. That's a different problem, right? So that becomes kind of like the nagging mom situation, right? Where like the mom nags the kid to do their homework, and it's like, that's not the way that your commitment to your career needs to look in order for it to really like thrive, in order for you to really thrive and succeed in your career. So this might seem kind of like a side point, but it's kind of like, no one, you have to care. You have to be committed to your career. If you're not committed to your career, that's a problem in and of itself. And if you are committed to your career, then there's no way that a recruiter can be more committed to your career. And I want to make kind of the argument that they also can't be as committed to your vision for your career. So like, just to close out this, this opportunities thing, right? Because we said like the convenience is that they know so many opportunities. In terms of the opportunities, you have to realize that they might know, okay? Like the recruiters might actually know of a lot more opportunities than you do, but they're not going to match you with all of them, right? What they're going to match you with are the things that are going to make them look good as the recruiters, with a high degree of certainty, with a high degree of confidence for them, right? That's kind of, this is kind of like the break. This is kind of like the rub, right? This is how recruiters get paid. Most of the time, like the way that the business model is structured is they do make the match between job seekers and hiring companies. But the people who pay them, it's not the bonus when a good match happens, doesn't come out of your wallet. It comes out of the wallet of the hiring company. So if you were to follow the money, you realize that the real client here is not you. The real client is the hiring company. And that's what's really important to understand here, okay? For a recruiter, the game is not a game of up-leveling your career. The game is a game of getting the best odds for the hiring company. To have less rejects, less defects, right? To have less, to deliver a match that the hiring company is going to say, yes, I want this person. I feel great about hiring this person. And it's not because they did anything to make you look particularly amazing. It's because they took whatever you gave them and kind of saw what it already matches up with. So I think that is kind of like the most important thing to understand, right? Like, yes, recruiters are career professionals in the sense that this is their job, Their job is to make matches. But they are trained to match. They are not trained to up-level you. And it's a very important distinction to make and to keep in mind and to understand. They're going to match you up with something. They would rather match you up with something that you're not the most excited about, but that it's a great fit in terms of your resume up until now, rather than match you with something that just makes your heart sing. It's like your dream job, but it's a little bit of a stretch, right? There's a risk that the company will say, no, like what kind of like crack pipe are you smoking? And it will make them look bad as a recruiter to do that. Okay, so they're playing the safe game. And as someone trying to up-level their career, you cannot play that safe game. You are not playing the same game at all. And the worst part is, if you don't understand this, you run the risk of basically looking at your recruiter or recruiters in general as the gatekeeper, right? As in, you kind of use the feedback that you're getting from recruiters, that what they say to you or the kind of opportunities that they're giving you, you use that to sort of like as an input to decide what is or isn't possible for you. And if you are doing that, you're going to be missing out on a ton of growth opportunities. So, and again, it's not because they're bad. It's not because they want like to keep you in place and they want to keep you from growing. Not at all, but they're just not trained. Their training is not in seeing the best version of you. What they're trained is in matching what is, matching what was, and not in what could be, not in what's possible for you, with a little bit of a stretch. Okay? And honestly, like if we're getting down to it, this is where the real tragedy is for me, because it honestly hurts. You know, I talk to so many people who are on the verge of giving up on what they really, really want, because some recruiter or maybe multiple recruiters told them that their dream job, the one that they really wanted, that they just can't have it. And instead of understanding what we just talked about, whereas like you optimizing for totally different things, because they didn't have that understanding, they took that as gospel. Okay, they didn't understand that the recruiters are optimizing for totally different things. When I was one of the people that I was talking to, she had like a substantial business background, and so I told her, I basically like broke it down to her in her language, and I said, look, you and the recruiters have different KPIs. If that speaks to you, so use that language, okay? You're optimizing for completely different things. The goal of the recruiter is not to get you your dream job. If that happens, that's really cool, right? But that's not what they're going to go above and beyond for. It's definitely not what they're going to risk having the company kind of say, whoa, like this is not a fit, right? Because the company is ultimately who they're serving. And that is the truth. But when you don't understand this, it's very easy to get discouraged, right? It's very easy to start making the entire process, the entire job search much, much harder than it needs to be, because you're in the suffering. Suddenly you have like your self-doubt magnifies this uncertainty, which already, like we talked about, it's already part of the job search. Suddenly, it becomes even bigger because you start doubting yourself. You start thinking like, well, can I really have this? Can I really, and it's very easy to, and with enough recruiters telling you can't have it, and with enough, weight that you place on what recruiters are telling you, it's very easy to then start deciding, well, no, I guess I was just over ambitious, right? And that means you might never break through to where you could have had you had the right support. So it's like, I guess it's like the problem with working with recruiters is twofold. Number one, the opportunities aren't right. Like the opportunities that you're getting are the safe opportunities, not the like high level, little bit of a risk, little bit of a stretch opportunities. And also the feedback itself can be detrimental. Like I've heard people that I've spoken to tell me, just recount like horrible things that recruiters have said, from like, you're the wrong religion to you're the wrong age, like you're too old, you don't have the right background, like all this super disempowering stuff, which is just not what somebody who is trying to up-level needs to hear. It's as someone who is up-leveling, you don't need to hear, like, there are enough reasons trying to pull you back into the comfort zone and the familiar of but that's not what you're interested in, right? You're interested in a breakthrough. So what you really want to do if you want to up-level your career is you want to work with someone who can give you two things. Number one is to give you like a strategy, a system, something that works, even if you're slightly disadvantaged when you in the standard job search. And number two, you want to work with somebody who really specializes in seeing who you can become and then making that basically non-negotiable and helping you bridge that gap with constant non-judgmental feedback until you get there, right? So for example, if you heard Naomi's interview that I had here a while back, the recruiters in her case, they didn't even have the decency to tell her that they don't think it's possible. Instead, like the recruiter kind of hemmed and hawed and waited for her to understand by herself that she's being over ambitious. And luckily, she was already working with us at the time that this conversation happened. So she was able, like, she had a different and a better reference for what is possible. And in the end, she got exactly what she wanted, right? She got like the job that checked all the boxes. She got the job that she was made to feel embarrassed for wanting, that she was made to feel like it's not possible, right? She got it. So if you have been talking with recruiters and it's been kind of making you feel like your dreams aren't really possible, what I want to do is I want to invite you to chat with me, okay? And together we can take a look at where you are. We can take a look at where you want to go and what you can do to start bridging that gap today. All you have to do is go to my calendar, grab a spot. To do that, you go to thisirresistible.com/apply and just pick a time slot. And then there's like a questionnaire that I can get some basic information about you to help kind of jumpstart our conversation faster. And I'll just add, because I get asked this all the time, even though I keep saying it, that yes, this call is completely free. Working with me is not free, but there's no strings attached to having the call. This conversation is, it's only the only goal of the conversation is to identify that gap and how you might start closing it. Okay, so I hope to talk to you soon, and I hope that today's episode had kind of like gave you some new understanding and some new insights into why, if you have been working with recruiters up until now, why that might have been a discouraging experience. All right? Okay, guys, till next time. Bye.